Hello, beautiful people. It's Chris Jobson, and it is time for a daily dose of wisdom. Now, in this space we have created together, right here, we go inside ourselves to the place where true transformation happens. Because to reshape the world out there, we have to reshape the world in here. We have to shift ourselves first. Yeah? Okay. Today's topic is you've got to feel it to heal it. You've got to feel it to heal it. Now feel what? Well, scan your lives. Scan your lives. Are there any broken relationships with family or friends or just people who really matter to you? Broken relationships that still cause you pain or discomfort. Or maybe they're just other moments and situations and experiences that still ring in your belly when you think of them. Or that make you angry still. Or just ache in your heart. All of these situations need healing. Healing so that you can fix them or change them, repair them, or just come to a new understanding and acceptance and peace with just the way they are. Because we cannot leave them as open wounds in our lives, just open wounds that still cut deep, that consumes our energy and our joy and consumes our minds and our bodies and consumes our life force. That is not living. That is not living, and we do not have to live that way. You don't have to live that way. Now, the possible solution to something like this, to these situations, would be to what? Avoid them or pretend they're not important. But let us clarify these two choices first of all. Avoidance, to avoid something, you have to know exactly what it is you want to avoid. You have to be conscious of what it is you want to avoid to make sure you don't bump into it. So by trying not to bump into something, you have to become conscious of what it is to make sure you can avoid it. It is counterproductive. It's an illusion. It is the thing that you're trying to avoid is actually in the forefront of your mind to make sure that you don't have to engage it. Doesn't work. To pretend it's not important, just from the beginning, the word pretend is actually that. It's a pretense. And you know it, that you're pretending that this thing that you're choosing to not believe is true is actually true inside, but you're pretending it's not. It's a bit of a deception of self. And deep down inside yourself, you lose a little respect because you know you're lying to yourself. It's not so important to me, but yet underneath it, there is something that's just going against that. That is not your complete truth. And your body and yourself and your mind knows that. And you're lying to yourself. And then you lose a little respect for yourself in the process, whether you are conscious of that or not. Then maybe you may think that, okay, the next thing I can do is probably I can numb myself to this thing. I can just be numb where I don't even care. It's not important to me. I don't even care. I don't feel anything. Oh, well, not feeling anything is tricky. Because if you don't feel anything, that means you've shut off your way of perceiving and interacting with your reality. You've shut off your senses that give you a chance to interact and know what's going on. Because you shut off your senses and you numb yourself where you feel nothing doesn't mean that the thing isn't happening. For example, if this room were falling apart, if this were an earthquake and this room was coming down on me, I could shut off my eyes and shut my ears and shut my senses and shut off all my perception and be in that space of numbness where my sensations are turned off. But that wouldn't stop the ceiling from crumbling on me. It wouldn't stop me from being hurt anyway. It doesn't make the situation go away. It just makes me not be aware of what's actually taking place. That's not going to work. Maybe the next thing we could do to solve this is to distract ourselves. And distract ourselves with noble and beautiful and wonderful things. Things that really do interest you, that are important to you as well. Or maybe distract yourself with more addictive things that will, take your mind off of things temporarily. But whether you distract yourself with good or bad things, or whether you're pretending and lying to yourself, or you're numbing yourself or avoiding, whatever it may be, these do not fix the problem. the underlying problem that something is still unsettled in you. Something is still using your energy, consuming your mind. There's something that is still playing in your heart maybe. Just taking up your space. Something that needs your attention, that needs to be healed. Because if you don't heal it, it will show up in your life. This theme, this energy, this thing needs to be seen and will be seen. It will show up in your life in another person, place, or thing. And triggers will come to you for you to dive in to heal this thing. At some point, you're going to have to give into it. It will catch up with you. So what to do? Jump in. Jump in. Jump into the feeling. The very feeling that you're trying to not feel. You're trying to pretend is not there. The feeling that you're running away from. Jump directly into it. Don't worry, we're all human beings, and our bodies and our minds and our physiology and our system is constructed to actually process and deal with feelings. If it's one of our superpowers as human beings, it is to feel feelings. From the lowest feeling, worst feeling possible, the most heavy feeling possible, to the most ecstatic feeling possible, we are built to feel them. We are built to feel them and feel them fully. So you're not going to break your temple. You're not going to break it. Actually, it's your nature to process these things. Your mind may tell you that you don't want to process it, but your body, your system knows it can handle it. Yeah? But you have to do this with no story. The story of the event of whatever happened, the sequence of how it happened, drop that. Stories are a tricky thing, because stories, when seen from this perspective, is this story, but seen from this perspective is another story. It's the same story, just seen from different perspectives, and the story changes all the time. The story is not reliable. Let go of the story. But the feeling you felt because of the story, the feeling you felt because of the situation or the experience, the feeling you felt is real, and that is still lurking in you, and that needs to be honored, and that needs to be seen. So drop the story. The story is not the start situation. Don't tell me he said, she said. Don't say that to yourself. Don't play that in your mind. Drop that. What did I feel? Because the feeling is what is actually holding you back in your life in some way, or consuming your energy, or distracting you, or distorting you. So let's go into the feeling. The feeling is the star of this moment. So you're going to feel your feelings, and you can actually go inside and feel them. You realize that these feelings are lying within us. These feelings are lying within us. You heard what I just said? The feelings are lying within us. What does that mean? That they're inside of us. That means we are the space that can house these emotions and these feelings. We are the space that feelings can come and go. They're not bigger than us. We don't have to run from them. They're inside of us, which connotes easily that they're smaller than us. We are a space that they can fit into. There's no need to run from something that is only a fraction of who you are. You can handle it. We can deal with it. It's not that big. It's big in your mind. Your mind is making up tricks. The emotion is just here for you to feel it. Here for you to process it. It has gifts for you. When you know that the emotions aren't bigger than you, you don't have to run from them. You can actually stop and look at yourself and look at what you're feeling and see yourself and see your emotions and be honest with what you're seeing and what you're feeling. Because you have to be honest with yourself. If there's anybody in the entire world that can be honest with you, it must be you with yourself. People out there may lie to you, but you can always be honest to yourself. You can have that integrity for yourself and be honest with yourself. And once you can be honest with yourself, then you can truly be honest with others. And your honesty with others will really resound as truth because you're giving it to yourself. So you're looking at yourself honestly. And you realize that these feelings and these emotions are within me. They hurt as hell. And I'm afraid to look at them, but I realize they're not bigger than me. I am the space that they can come on in. I drive the bus. I am captain of this ship. These emotions, these feelings, they work for me. They're tools. They're my tools. They've come to work for me, not against me or to me, for me. So when we feel these emotions fully, we go on in and we feel them fully. On the other side of this journey, when we actually feel them, and even during, they can become our strengths. They can become our strengths, and they can add to the power of our character. When we work through these emotions and get to the other side, we have new understandings. greater wisdom because we've gone through it and we've felt what needs to be felt, and we allow ourselves to be guided by our intelligent body and being and life. And we came on the other side, worked on, grown, more expansive than before, with new perspectives and new awareness on this situation or in life in general. And then one of these gifts of new awareness and new perspective, maybe that very gift, that very insight that you need to go back and fix the situation and fix that broken relationship and repair it or take it to the next level, or at least accept it with a new awareness of peace, with new peace in your heart, having come to a new understanding as to how this whole thing occurred and to what you felt, and you're part in the whole process. You become wiser. You've expanded to a new space, a new you, and you have more respect for yourself, and you hold yourself in higher esteem because you've been through it and you took yourself through this thing, came together in yourself, trusted yourself, was honest with yourself, and took yourself to a new space. You become more, and the joy that you have for yourself and the love that you have for yourself is new afterwards. It's new, and it is delicious. So we don't need to run from our emotions. We embrace our emotions. They're part of us, and we accept them, and we accept their gifts. And we accept their pulling us and calling us to a greater and better us, and a happier, more aligned us. And if we are going through a tumultuous time of heightened emotions, just like these issues and these past experiences unhealed, and if we go through these and we have these lurking in our body, in our system, in our minds, in our lives, we find a quiet, safe, alone space to be with self and really give your honesty and your truth and your consciousness to that emotion. Their emotions are just energy, held in a certain configuration, asking for us to interplay with it so we can mold it and transform it into something else. And by doing that and processing and seeing the emotion that wants to be seen and felt and heard, we feel it, we feel it, we feel it. And we end up, melting it down to its purest form, which is just energy and magic that we can absorb and use and radiate in our lives and share it with others and create the things we want to create. Cry that cry. Scream that scream. Beat up that pillow if you need to. The pillow will forgive you. Roar that roar. Grieve that sadness. Feel it, feel it, feel it in that safe space, and go back as often as you need to until you bring it to a place where it becomes part of you in harmony, where it becomes part of you, where it becomes healed, where it becomes an exhale. And you can actually have greater love for you and even for the person that helped you engage that emotion in the first place. You take yourself to a place of healing. And when you've got to that place of healing, there is newness. In that newness, that is the energy of the newness that we want for us to go where we're going in our lives. That's the newness and the energy that we need for us to be who we want to be in our lives. And that is the energy and the newness that we need for us to show up the way we want to show up anew in our lives. We don't want to run from our emotions. We want to embrace them and feel them and heal them. And heal ourselves. Because remember, to shift our lives, we have to shift ourselves first. So thank you for being here with me. Yeah? And I'll see you next time. Take care.